This is Getting On With Life, Biblical Wisdom for Successful Christian Living. And this lesson is Highest Priority. What do you consider important in life? We tend to order things in levels of priority. Many a person won't get out of their own way, failing to fix things, clean up their mess, be bothered to be sociable, or the like. Yet if their house caught fire, they'd find motivation to get out of their chair. So saving their life or their house is a higher priority than doing chores or repairing something broken. Many a student can't find the energy to do an assignment, but have plenty of energy for time with their friends or the game or sport they are addicted to. It's a matter of priorities. Sadly, it's probably true that we all have wrong priorities. So I want to prompt you to consider what motivates you and whether those things should be your highest priority. Selfishness is high priority for most people. They attend to what is good for them. That might be due to fear of negative outcomes, not wanting to get hurt or sick or lose their job or chance of promotion. Or it might be pride, not wanting to look bad in the eyes of others. Or it could be simple greed. We also have priorities pushed on us by others. For example, not speeding on the roads. Most people would be happy to drive without being policed on the road. They would drive as they felt appropriate. So to stop them speeding or doing what is deemed bad, there are penalties. Chinese officials covered up the early coronavirus outbreak, not wanting it to tarnish their image. While news of the outbreak was being suppressed, the governor of the affected province told officials, "Political issues are at any time the most fundamental major issues." So his highest priority at that time was the stability of the ruling party and the idea that politicians deserve honor. That attitude probably contributed to early spread of the disease. What does it mean that politics is the highest priority? Do people really worship a political system, or are they just looking after their own interests? For officials in a political system, protecting the system is protecting self. The same is true in corporations. We know major corporations cover up their part in causing death and disease or in defrauding people. Consider the tobacco industry and the drug companies. A royal commission into banking and finance in Australia revealed extensive high-level fraudulent activity, lies and wrongful actions by banks and finance companies. How could such evil be perpetrated and supported by so many people? Maybe it comes back to self-interest. Protecting the corporation is not highest priority, but looking after number one, that's self-serving, is the priority. And that requires hiding the sins of the party or the company. If you were associated with something that did evil, what would you do? Is doing the right thing your highest priority, or playing safe and looking after yourself? What if it means others are ripped off or seriously damaged? God watches all our games, and he sees to it that we get what we deserve, either now or later. And God calls each of us to make fear of God our highest priority. Acting in respect of God's supreme place in our world is living in the fear of God. That's our calling. Ecclesiastes 12:13 says, "Now hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God, and keep his commands, for this is the whole duty," the highest priority, of man. And 1 Samuel 12:24 says, "Above all," that's the highest priority, "fear the Lord and serve him faithfully with all your heart. Consider what great things he has done for you." And Deuteronomy 10:12 says, "What does the Lord your God ask of you, but to fear the Lord your God by walking in all his ways, to love him, to serve the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul." Your highest priority is not self, but God. By honoring him, you do the very best thing for yourself. To know God and be his child, living for him, aware that you answer to him in everything, is the highest possible life you can live. And it leads you straight into the blessings of eternity with God. Sadly, we have a fleshly human part of us that is easily drawn by its desires and by pride. That's what traps us in the destruction in the world. The world is built on our human addiction to lust and pride. 1 John 2:16 says, All that is in the world, the lusts of the flesh, the desires of the eyes, and the pride of life, is not from the Father, but from the world. You are most likely tempted regularly to look after number one. You are likely pulled along by your flesh, and that makes you captive to fears, pride, greed, lust, image, jealousy, ambition, vengeance and spite, abuse of others, delight in the downfall of others, and much more. You are likely trusting in lies, self-willed, proud, fearful, and slave to sin. You are likely damaged and enslaved in some way or other. That's why we need Jesus to save us. We need forgiveness, healing, and release from things we don't know have us bound. We need deliverance from our path into destruction, rescuing us from things that enslave us and drive us like slaves. Yet we are likely to chase what we think will make us happy and give us some advantage in life. So, what's your highest priority? If it is yourself, then you are chasing yourself into destruction and misery. If it is living for God in the fear of God, then you are being rescued from evil, and you have hope of wonderful and complete transformation. Do you uphold truth or support lies? Do you bless others or chase what is best for you? Do you love your enemies or delight in spiting them? Do you forgive offenders or try to get even? Do you humble yourself or bristle with pride? Do you serve others selflessly or do things that make you look good? I challenge you, among all the things that compete for your attention and service, to make living for God with salvation through Christ and living in the power of the Holy Spirit your highest priority. God bless you.